What's up, everyone? Welcome back to A Line in the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we are back today with another episode of the USS Defiant build series and another botched paint job. Now, a little bit of a confession. The videos that came out last week were basically at the very tail end of a very, very long stretch of recording for me. And basically what wound up happening is I got way too far ahead of my skill. And basically I was crash coursing, doing too much, and just in the few weeks, so since recording, I've revamped my workbench. I have done some work on a Gundam on stream. I've been paired up with Hobby Time modelers. You know, I've done a bunch of work since the last time I was really building any of my models. And I gotta be honest, I'm not pleased with where we wound up with some of them at the very end. Now, Fats Fat, I'm very pleased with. The Enterprise C, we've had to redo some pieces, and you'll see that coming up this week, in anticipation of getting ready for the Aztec dummy. And the same thing is going to be happening here. But to get a preface to what we're talking about, let me show you what I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and bust into my close-in camera here. And as you can see here, if I get a little bit closer, if you look around my edges, the edges are really bad. Right up here in this area, you see a fingerprint and a smudge. Got some panel line bleed up in this area. This is where I had done some of one of my repairs in the previous episodes. Through here as well, you can just see my brush strokes. It's really messy panel lines. It's messy. I don't like it. I was using the lacquer here. The lacquer on top of acrylic doesn't work, I've come to find out. So lots of different little things have come into play. The copper up on this section definitely bled, as we found out the reasons why. I definitely was using curved line tape through here, so that's why we're experiencing some bleed. And on the section that I painted in the last episode, I did it by hand, and to be honest with you, I didn't do the greatest of job. And also as well, if we look in here, if we get in close, right up here, you can see these indentations, and I'm hoping it comes through on the camera. But we have these indentations, and if you look at them, they're perfectly circular. Those are from the mounting lugs on the back there. Bruh. So, we've got some work to do. Now, I have done my work, and on the top part of the saucer, and I'm pretty pleased with the results there, but once again, I got a little ahead of myself, and the work that was done quickly, crash course-like, and before my skills had developed a little bit more. And I gotta say, just a couple weeks worth of model making has made me better at model making, and so it kind of got away from myself. I was trying to get as much content out as I could all at once, and I wound up working really hard, and I was proud of the work that I was able to get as far ahead as I was, but coming back and looking at it after I have a chance to get to, really work through some of my skills, I'm not pleased. And so what we're going to be going ahead and doing is stripping down the entire model. I know that I've already stripped down the model once, and I'm going to do it again. However, what you guys aren't going to see is the build back up, except for this phase. And we're going to be showing you in this phase what we're going to be doing. And to describe that, simply as put, I'm going to stop painting on sprues. So as of recording today, the previous episode, Copper Dropper, just dropped. And after the episode came out, Dave, who is part of our Hobby Time modelers group, and a really amazing modeler. I'm going to go ahead and throw up his page link down here, Relentless Storm. He is one of the most amazing, internal detail tank modelers that I personally have ever seen. You should definitely check out his content, and he knows his paint. He obsesses over it. And so he's like, hey, you should try this, you should do that, have you thought about this? Don't put lacquer over top of acrylic and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh man, because I was coming into the recording of this going, I'm just going to keep moving on. I'm just going to accept how the crappiness of it happened. I'm just not. And so, like I said, we're going to go ahead and strip this all the way down. We're going to go ahead and reapply, and we're going to be doing in the same process. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and strip it down. And then I'm not going to be painting on sprues anymore, and I'm going to get everything cut, cleaned up, get ready to go, and then we're going to assemble before we paint. And so the first thing we're going to do is, while it is on sprue, basically is get it all cleaned up and nice and tidy. So we're going to get them primed, and we're going to assemble them in such a way that basically we're able to get them ready for the Aztec dummy when it arrives, which is what I've done. I've purchased the Aztec dummy for this model as well. I've been kind of dancing around the subject for a little bit, and it's something that just has to happen. This is a very intricate tape job, paint job, and through a couple of different attempts, I've not been able to do a proper job on it, and I want this model to look good. So we are going to step all the way back, bring all the paint down, and then from there we're going to apply our base coat, reassemble or not reassemble, but assemble our pieces, and then apply our Aztec dummy, and then get all of our base coats put on from there. So there's going to be 3 layers of paint on here, and one that I'm really excited for. So we're going to go ahead and get this into the isopropyl, and we're going to get it soaking for a couple of hours. I'm going to go ahead and scrub the paint off with an electric toothbrush. I'm not going to show you guys that process. You guys have already seen it. And then we're going to come back after it's been primed, and we're going to go ahead and assemble our pieces, which actually, I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about. I haven't done any model assembly in a little while off stream, and to be able to use the new glue and all of that, I'm really, really excited for. So I'm going to go get this soaking. We're going to go ahead and get it scrubbed off, and then I'm going to get it primed, and then we'll be back for assembly. All right, we're back, and after putting this in some ISO, letting it soak for a few hours, and then taking our brush and scrubbing off all the old paint, I got to admit there was some sadness that came into play as I was coming into the nacelles, realizing that we're coming all the way basically back to the beginning, but for a very good reason. But we went ahead and got that taken care of, and then I went ahead and separated the parts from the sprues, took care of sanding them off, and then primed them. So these ones are all ready to go. Now for assembly, we won't be doing any assembly on this, as it's going to kind of require us to put all the pieces together, all together kind of at once. So what we're going to be doing over the next week is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to soak these parts off. I'm going to go ahead and scrub them and then put our primer on, and then we're going to wait. The Aztec dummy should be shipping in the next day or so, which means I should see it within the next week. Hopefully, by the time that we're coming around to shooting the next episode for this, we'll be able to go ahead and apply the Aztec dummy. I want to go ahead and just get all the way down to the primer base coat and basically just have it ready to go. I'm not quite sure how the Aztec dummy is going to be applied for this. I need to do my research this week, but with that being said, I want to take it all the way down to the primer level. So overall, I'm really pleased with the effect. Where we had all of those issues where we couldn't get any of our panel lining in there in those spots because of the high points from all the different coats that we had to put on in order to get it right, all have gone. And I know through experience through the yesterday's Enterprise build series in the 1701C, we're only going to need like 1 or 2 coats of our color in order to get this covered, which is going to be really, really nice. I went ahead and used the Tamiya surface primer, and it's just going to be the straight gray. So what we're going to do today for the rest of this episode is we're going to go ahead and separate our dorsal and ventral sections from the sprues. We're going to go ahead and clean our parts up, and then we're going to go ahead and one thing I realized, this model is one of the very first ones that I started, and it's kind of crazy to think that I'm coming back all the way to the beginning right now because of everything that I've learned. And with that being said, it is a little crazy considering that I started this model just right after Christmas or so, and we're in March. So yeah, it's a little strange to me, but I gotta be honest, there's been so much that I've learned since starting this whole process, since starting this model, that I realized that I haven't separated from the sprues. I'm painting on the sprues like a genius, with a capital J, and I also have not gone through and sanded up my parts, so we're not cleaned up. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and separate the pieces from the sprues, and we'll be back to go ahead and do some sanding. All right, so we got our parts separated. Let's go ahead and do some cleaning up, shall we? We're going to go ahead and use 4 different levels of file. To be honest with you, I don't know the different grit levels. I can tell you that this one's rough, this one's the next roughest, or the next softest, then softest, softer, and then super soft. And this will actually buff down our piece to a shine if we wanted to. So let's go ahead and start here, and we're going to go ahead and just remove that nub from where we cut off the sprue. And for this one, it's going to probably take me grabbing a smaller file and getting in there. And what we're going to do first is take care of getting the main big nubs here taken care of and brought down. Because one of the things I realize is that if I'm painting on the sprues, I'm going to have to reapply primer, and I may not be able to color match properly afterwards. So it's hence why we're restarting on this model, basically. Okay. So that part is nice and cleaned down. Let's go ahead and grab our next spot. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and come back over here. And we're going to come back basically on each one here. With the different levels of filing. And there's so much flash on this model that I've come to discover, and I'm super glad that I'm doing this. As daunting and as scary as this is, I'm really glad that we're doing this because there's a lot of flash here. Okay, where else? Nothing from the back. There we go. Go ahead and move over to another part of the sandpaper. There we go. And then the final nub. There we are. So now, I'm going to go ahead and come along here. It's still a little... There we go. This is still kind of a little stuck. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3 on all my spots. And just run along the edge here. 2. And then 3. There we go. Nice and clean. Just come around from the other side. And let's grab a little bit rougher of an edge. And you can see some of that flash coming off. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then I'm going to come a rough edge around here. Just kind of clean up any of the flash that might be left over. Okay, so we got 1. 2. And then 3. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other side, and we will be right back. All right, so there are all of our main pieces separated from the sprues, sanded and cleaned up. I went ahead and took the sander along the edge here, and got all of our edges nice and taken care of. Got all of our flash taken care of. And over the next week, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and soak these in ISO just for a couple of hours and then get scrubbed off. And then we're going to go ahead and put on our base coat of the primer. And then from there, my friends, the Aztec dummy will be arriving. And it's going to be our first complete Aztec dummy build. One that I'm super excited for. This paint job is a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. And I am a little disappointed that I wasn't able to pull it off. But then again, this paint job is super complicated, and there are tools out there that are meant to help with this process. And so instead of throwing frustration at it, which I've been doing and starting over and starting over and starting over, we're just going to throw money at the problem, which is usually how you solve them. So, in the next episode, we will be introducing the Aztec dummy. For the first time in one of our builds, we will be seeing that going forward. And I think that's what I got for you today. And I just want to say thank you. I know there was a million things you could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember that revenge is a dish best served cold.